Hi, I'm Greg Luderman, and I'm going to give you a video tour of one of my books. The Kanti Cycle is a trilogy about Kanti. He's a Giru, an alien species that look a bit like kangaroos. Kanti works in space, but he doesn't have a prestigious job like an admiral or a captain or even an officer. No, Kanti's job is using a bulldozer to load garbage onto a conveyor belt. But his life isn't all bad. He does fall in love. Unfortunately, though, he has a rather large secret, and when his mistake reveals that secret, he ends up running for his life. But there's no way off the White Flower too, so he's not going to be able to escape for long. Today's selection is from Fair Trade, the third book in the Kanti Cycle trilogy. Fair Trade is not only set in a world created by Rick Griffin of House Pets fame, Rick was kind enough to illustrate it. Chapter 1. You seem very quiet today, Warrior Kanti. Has your health declined? He glanced at the cinnamon-furred Surang looming over him. She had sewn up his gut wound and brought him back to life somehow, but despite her kindness, Kanti didn't want to be here. No, I feel okay, I guess. He splashed his paw idly in the water, causing the water bug with which he shared the chamber to take flight again. I'm just depressed. You are a very strange creature. His mistress seemed very fond of this phrase and used it often. I thought that you would be more happy to be alive again. It's not that, he said. I don't want to be your slave, mistress. I want to go back to my people. Ah, I see. You miss your former master. You wish to be his slave once more. She seemed to mentally weigh the possibility with a fanning of her whiskers. This is only normal, I suppose. It will pass. He splashed at the water again, this time in frustration. No, it's not the commissioner. I don't want to be separated from my people. I miss my mate, Tish. Really? I find you full of surprises, Kanti. He looked up at her. Surang ears stayed motionless while they talked, making the huge creatures seem, to a Giru at least, like robots incapable of emotions. You do? He asked. Why was she so surprised? What could be more natural than wanting to return to his mate? Certainly. Your people do not seem to like you as much as you like them, but yet you want to return to them, she said. Your people killed you once, and though you are much too weak to fight them again, you still wish to confront them. They would certainly kill you a second time, would they not? She cocked her head, studying him with one eye and then the other. I think perhaps that your people have a very perplexing relationship with death. Kanti groaned and rubbed his eyes with his palms. His body bobbed gently at the surface of the warm pool. You don't understand. No, I do not. That was my point. It's just that I've got no reason to live without Tish. It surprised him to say the words, but they felt so true. Why bother going on without her? Precisely. Life has very little value to Giru. She wriggled her whiskers in a Surang nod. What? No, the Giru value life, he said. We treasure it. Is that so? She asked. And what did your people do with our pups? Kanti's stomach dropped in a free fall. Your pups? Judging his mistress's size while most of her body was submerged was difficult, but now that he thought about it, the corpses that Sakel's team had dragged home did seem smaller than she was. Yes, she said. Surang pups are very curious. They seek out danger, even when warned not to. When Kanti fell silent, she added, I asked you a question, slave. Our security squad explored your tunnels to find out what sort of creatures had made them. Kanti felt so helpless looking up at the gigantic Surang. Her black eyes seemed to stare right into his soul. Sakel, our leader, claimed that they had been attacked. He said that they had killed the first pup while defending themselves. A pup attack? Preposterous. She turned away. Kanti wanted to run and hide. He hated feeling responsible. I'm sorry we didn't doubt him, mistress. They brought the body back to our barracks, and it seemed so much larger than any of us. I had no idea that he would lie about what had happened. And the second pup? She asked without turning around. What of her? Kanti delayed a long while before the weight of the silence finally compelled him to answer. They told us more lies, but now I suspect that Cycle had hunted her down intentionally. Determining her reaction was difficult, especially with her back to him. She slowly lifted her long tail from beneath the water's surface, wrapping it around her waist and chest. She held it in her paws, trembling slightly. I see, she forced out at long last. And her remains? Kanti's throat constricted. The stitches in his gut ached so badly that he wanted to cry out, but he dreaded making any sound. Gone, he croaked. Where? Please, mistress, I don't know what Surang funeral rituals involve, Kanti whimpered, but the bodies are gone, okay? Just gone. Slaves must always be honest with their owners. She turned slowly about, letting her tail sink back into the bath. Now answer me truthfully. What have you done with my daughter's body? Kanti's world crashed down around him. He wanted to throw up, to drown himself, to do anything other than answer the question. Why did the pup have to be her daughter? He remembered her mention how she had found Kanti's body while she was nearby praying. Was she visiting the chamber where Cycle had murdered Mistress's daughter? And now he was trapped. Could he lie to her? Could he just say that they had disposed of the body, that they had hauled it off to the recycler when Sunny had finished her autopsy, as the little brown Giroux had instructed? He opened his muzzle and tried to force the lie out, but his throat refused to cooperate, despite the pain honesty would cause them both. Eaten, he whispered. She closed her eyes for a moment. She opened them and spoke, but her voice was shockingly calm. No, slave, you will show me respect by answering with a full sentence. I asked what you did with her body. Her calm tone terrified him. He would rather she had screamed. We ate her. Another long pause. I did not ask about your tribe. I asked about you. Show me respect, slave. Follow my instructions. Say the words. What did you do with my daughter's body? I helped eat your daughter's body. Kanti barely managed. He trembled so hard that the water rippled around him, sending his tiny insect companion into a frenzy. He had never spoken a more painful sentence in his life. Though he could not read her emotions, he could only imagine the magnitude of his suffering had the situation been reversed. He grabbed her paw. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. The words spilled from his muzzle, including his best approximation of how her name was pronounced. She jerked her paw away and held it over his head as if she would strike him. He expected that, or that she would scream or force his head under the water. Instead, she remained eerily calm. Please forgive me, mistress, he corrected himself eventually. Surang slaves were expressly forbidden from uttering their owner's name. Still, she did not react. Kanti had done his share of grieving over his parents, his best friend, even Decca and Pasca, whose lives he had tried to save. He knew how much these losses had hurt, but her stoicism mystified him. He realized that he was not apt to understand Surang grieving. From just this short encounter, He could tell it was completely alien to Jeru norms. "I suppose that to be a warrior you must not value life," she said at last, looking away. Kanti groaned. Tears ran down his cheeks, and he could barely whisper, "I'm not a warrior. Please stop calling me that. Just because you were defeated in battle, it does not change what you are. You must take pride in your people and their culture."